Hello and welcome to Art School Live. My name is Mandy Tice. I am your guest host this week while Eric is away on vacation with his family. And today, my guest is Kathleen Denis. Kathleen, welcome.
Hi, thank you. Thank you for having me.
So happy to have you here. Give us just a brief statement. What are we going to learn with you today?
We are going to we're going to learn about the benefits of creating interesting layers with acrylics, mediums, and other types of tools.
Oh, that sounds like so much fun. All right, let's get this show going.
It's Art School Live with Eric Rhodes.
Hello again, everybody. You may have noticed I am not Eric Rhodes. My name is Mandy Tice. I'm the director of the 𝗖𝗿𝗲𝗁𝗍𝗔 Arts, and I am subbing for Eric this week while he's away on a family vacation. Today, I have the lovely Kathleen here to teach us all about acrylic layering, using new mediums in acrylic, and I'm so excited to learn with her today. So Kathleen, welcome to the show, and let's get started.
All right. Thank you so much, Mandy. Well, I have something here behind me that to me doesn't look very attractive, but I will show you how I take that kind of a mess and a playtime that start connecting with my subject matter and take it into a finished painting. So I started out with watercolors years ago, and I was very detailed, and I was a heavily licensed artist. And so my art was on just hundreds and hundreds of products with numerous manufacturers worldwide. And I kind of got burned out and just switched over to oils, started trying oils, and I was like, whoa, you can do so much more with this. And I just had a lot of fun and had been painting probably for the last 15 years proficiently in oils. And so from there, I started trying some acrylic underpainting so that I could get my foundation to stay put without, the moving of an oil that's still wet.
Mhm.
And the more I did that, the more I um, found that I really liked acrylics. And at this point right now, I'm like full blown acrylics. Um,
Well, I love that you
so
went on this journey. You started in acrylics, you were working a little bit more commercially with licensing your artwork, and then
mhm.
you were like, "I need to do something different," so you went to oils, and now you're back to your first love of acrylics.
I am. Well, originally it was watercolor, so it
Oh,
was water
watercolor, I'm
based.
sorry. Okay,
Yeah, that's
okay.
okay. It was water based, but yeah, it kind of feels the same a little
So
bit. You
you're
can do.
very brave then transitioning through media. Like, I'm thinking about a lot of people, myself included, that I'm like, oil and that's it, right? Like,
Yeah,
that's
yeah, and
all
that's
I'm doing.
that's what I did with the oils. I'm like, nope, I'm not doing anything else. And then this just kind of happened, and I'm feeling it. I love where it's gone, and I feel like I'm me now instead of like painting like other people. I'm painting like
Oh.
me.
I love
Yeah.
that. Can you give us a little bit of advice on how to figure out what we paint like? Like, how did you discover your you paint like me? How did you come about that?
Mm. Well, this past summer, I eliminated everything on my schedule. I did not teach for 3 months. I did not do any events for 3 months. And I just stayed home in my little studio and studied different things, things that I normally wouldn't study. A lot of um, uh, abstracts, abstract
Mhm.
artists, and playing around. I had just got like a mixed media pad, and just like every day I would start, trying different layers with
Mhm.
acrylics. And before you know it, I started applying it to my paintings, and I call these abstracted expressions.
Ooh, I love that. And, it's interesting because yesterday we had a guest on that was also talking about that you should be studying 90% and painting 10%. And here you are
Yes.
being like, I gave
Yeah.
myself 3 months of doing nothing else but studying,
Hmm.
and practicing and experimenting without, like, that
Yeah.
pressure of having to produce,
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, I heard Mary say that and I was like, yep, that's true. But after doing this, I got picked up by a really good high-end gallery and they had me doing, 72-inch by 36 paintings with this style. So that was really fun and exciting and unexpected.
Congratulations.
Oh,
Oh,
thank
that's
you. Thank you.
wonderful.
So now my students want me to teach this to them. So here I am.
Well, we are excited to learn it from you today. So I can't wait to see how all of this knowledge and training and experience that you've been working on is going to come together in our demo today.
Okay, so I will get started with what I call the fundamentals. So I am very strong in when I teach of teaching the fundamentals, and they are so important even to, I believe, an abstract artist. And so one of the things I'm going to show you for the painting today, this is my notan that I did. And one of the easy ways for me to get a box is to take my little viewfinder and either do a small box inside. That is, if you're using a square, and if it's not a square, you can, measure it off and do 8 by 10 or whatever. But in this case, I did it full, just sketched a couple boxes. And
Great.
so I always want to start out with a notan, and if I have time, I could do a value study. But I'm finding with the way that I'm painting these, what I need to have is really strong lights and darks. And so the mid values, they just kind of fall into place where they need to as I'm painting. But that is like so important. I like to call the fundamentals the fun duh mentals, like the fun. I know.
I love that.
I came up with that. The fun comes after the mentals, and so the mentals is not fun. Value studies. My students are always like, "No, I don't want to do them," and I am that way too. But when you get in the habit of doing them, that's the mental part. It's not the fun part. But then when you get to the canvas, that work is done, and then you can just have fun. I also believe it's very important to be accurate, even though you're being expressive. So when I say accurate, I mean good composition, good color,
Mhm.
um, uh, you know, perspective. That's really important.
Sure.
The way, all of those kind of lines, the drawing, that's
Mhm.
really important. Um, and to, again, be able to have the fun on the canvas. Unless, it's like a total funky kind of a style, and that doesn't even matter. Like lines are just everywhere. But so that's part of the fundamentals that I teach. And I have classes online with those. And so once I do that, then I can get onto the canvas. Sometimes I'll do a smaller canvas, but what I find with this kind of a style is I can't repeat this. So I don't find it necessary really to do a small one and then go large. I just jump in there and just see what happens because I never know. And that's kind of the exciting part about it is, the surprise elements by doing this. So let me, if you want, I'll start painting.
Yes,
Is that
please. We
good?
can't wait.
Okay.
And
All
for
right.
those of
Good.
you
Let me.
who are watching today, know that Kathleen is one of the faculty for the Acrylic Live that's coming up in just a few weeks. So make sure to join that wonderful online event.
And speaking of that, I have some mediums out here and some paints and different tools and whatnot. But in the Acrylic Live, I go into more detail and lots more mediums and explain uh, one by one of what to how they work. So that if you're in need of learning all those things, that's where you can find that. So what I want to do, and I think you have a copy of the original picture of the little yellow chair. There it is. Yep.
Great.
I have it in front of me. And I also have, I can turn this around for a second if you'd like to see this. I have on my big screen also. Um, this one over here, I
Mhm.
actually painted that in the past, and that is just in oils. And then this, I put it into Photoshop and put it in a filter just to get a kind of a funky look and see what would happen. And then of course I have my original right there. So I'm looking at those things just to, for reference. They're not to copy, whether I'm doing plein air or from a photograph. I never want to get into copying it because then it just becomes kind of stiff and not alive. And I don't feel that passion. So to get started, this is an acrylic marker. So, oh, actually, you know what, Mandy, would you show how I got to this, show the time lapse that got me to this point?
Absolutely. We'll bring that up for you right now. I love that you did this ahead of time for us.
Yeah, well, yeah, it helps to see. So I'm just putting marks down and I'm just connecting with my subject matter. And it frees me up and helps me to not be afraid of the canvas. So if I knew that I was going to end up with this, I might be afraid to do this. But when I do what you just saw in the time lapse, oh, it's still going. Okay. When I have two of them there because I have a finished piece. That's why you're seeing two. So I will show you that when we're done.
Wonderful.
But you know, to jump right into this, I wouldn't know what I'm doing.
Mhm.
And it looks like I don't know what I'm doing. But by doing all of this, I'm finding that I am just simply connecting. I live by the ocean, by the beach, and when I took a walk yesterday, I saw a little boy fishing. I saw the ocean moving. I saw
Mhm.
the clouds moving. Um, Beach chairs, architecture, and everything had movement to me. And
Mhm.
so that's what I want to start with is just feeling the movement of things. And and then again, all of these marks that I put underneath kind of show through. I
Mhm.
can cover them up if I want. And if you've gone on my website, if you go to the painting page, yeah, the page that says abstracted expressions, you will see some of these marks showing through. I find that exciting. Um, you know, I want someone to look at my work and go, wow, how did you get that? And so that's where all of this kind of begins. Um,
And just for our
yeah.
viewers, if you'd like to see Kathleen's website, it's kathleendenis.fineartstudioonline.com. And of course, you can follow her on Instagram at Kathleen_Denis_art.
And Mindy, I don't mean to correct you, but I'm going
Oh,
to correct you on my last name. It's
oh,
French. I married the French name. There wasn't a painter by this name. It's Denis. So the easiest way is not to elbow, it's not to foot, it's
it's
Denis.
Denis. Oh, thank you for the
Denis.
correction.
So
I
sorry
appreciate
about
it.
that.
No, no, I am sorry for calling you the wrong name. That's on me,
No,
my friend.
no. Well, you wouldn't know, and you're certainly not the first one. So, yeah, so I'm letting lines overlap. And I mean, how freeing is this? Like, I feel like a little 2-year-old when I do these. Um, you know, I am looking, I didn't do a graph where, you know, I could graph off my thirds and all that. Sometimes I do, but I really don't want anything to restrict me. And so I'm looking at where it falls on the last time I painted it and on the photograph. So I know approximately where things are going to be. But I could have graphed it in as well.
There's a
But
lot of interest in your marker. You said this is an acrylic paint marker.
yes, this
Okay.
one is called Posca,
Okay.
Posca. Can you see that? Yeah.
Yep. Wonderful.
Um, and there's all kinds of acrylic markers out there. And like, who would have known? Like, I never knew this before this summer when I started studying things.
Well, I love
Yes.
it because I notoriously despise washing my paintbrushes, and I'm like, "Oh, there's a way to paint without having
Oh,
to wash
yeah.
a paintbrush." I'm very excited by this.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, they're actually me see if I have them here. There's actually an oil marker. This one is called
Really?
Deco Color.
I had
Yep,
no idea this
broad light.
existed. Oh my
And
gosh.
I have not used them yet. So I haven't gotten my oils out in a while. But yeah, so I'm assuming it works just like that.
I am so excited. You have inspired me to go get an oil
Oh,
marker. I'm so excited. Next thing you know, I'll only have oil markers and I'll never wash it again.
well, and with doing this as well, I try not to use the brush unless I have to. And you'll see all of this down here are various tools that I use. Um, and I was in a paint out, Lighthouse Art Center paint out just recently, just a couple days ago. It ended, and I almost sold out of my paintings. So
Wow,
um,
congratulations.
that was kind of a good sign for me. Like, okay, people like this, and they would
Good.
say to me, "Wow, that look at all those marks in there."
That's amazing.
Like, yeah.
So I have a question for you. Sometimes when I'm out and about painting, whatever, people ask me, you know, how much the paintings are. Do you charge the same rate that you do in a gallery, or do you give them a studio price when you're out and about?
No, I have to charge the same
Mhm.
uh, as my gallery, and the gallery gives discounts. I can give discounts as well, but
Sure.
it's all about the same price.
Sure.
Yeah, unless it's a friend or a relative, and sometimes I just give them to them for free.
Very generous.
So here, this is another marker. This is, I don't know, all I can see on there is solid marker. And again, what I'm even doing right now, I'm not even looking at my canvas. I glance back and forth kind of, but um, I just want to have fun and engage. So
Well, you look like you're having fun, and it's fun to watch you.
yeah. And I will have my music blasting.
So what are your jams?
And
What do you like to paint to?
well, actually, probably my favorite is worship music,
Oh,
and that and classical music. Those are
yes.
probably my two favorites.
I think of
Yeah.
classical music as kind of being a calming influence. Do you find that it, like, hypes you up?
Oh yeah, yeah. And I grew up as a dancer, a ballerina, and so
Oh.
it takes me right back to, like, I'll feel like I'm dancing, and sometimes I'll dance in
Oh, I
here.
love that. I've been seeing on social media that ballet for adults is making this big comeback. All these people that danced as a child.
Ah,
Yeah,
oh
because
wow.
I also danced as a child, and I'm like, yeah, I should
Oh
do that
yeah.
again, right?
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely. So you can kind of see something's going on here now, right? Kind of.
Yes, 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 you can. Sorry. I was just, like, in awe. Like, I had no idea. When I first saw your canvas, I gotta be honest with you, Kathleen, I'm like, "What is even going on here?" Because I saw the picture, and I'm like,
Yeah.
"How is this
Yeah.
that?"
Does this girl know how to paint?
And yet here we are, and you're pulling, a rabbit out of the hat. You're showing us, like, how magical it can be to build up on something really interesting underneath.
Yeah, and just have fun. Um, I I'm known for capturing sunlight. I'm born and raised in South Florida. Actually, where I live now in Palm Beach County, I originally I had just moved from the Keys, the Florida Keys.
Mm,
So I love a bright palette. I
mm.
love sunshine. So with doing this, I am still keeping in mind where's the light and where's the shadow. Like that has not changed,
Sure.
um, and that's very important to me as well.
Yeah.
So
Well, before we went on the air today, we were kind of talking about how, what we let into our eyes affects how we paint. And this idea that you have a whole lifetime of sunshine, I feel really comes through in your work.
mm, true. If I, who was brought up north, then it would probably be a whole different palette.
Yeah, well, we just have someone saying hello from Norway, and I imagine the light is very different in Norway than South Florida.
Oh yeah. Oh, I'm sure.
Welcome,
Um,
Norway.
I
We're glad you're here.
uh, I've been in a gallery in Maine. Unfortunately, they just closed up. But
Oh.
the reason he wanted me, he says, I want you to bring Florida sunshine to this gallery.
So you seem to have a lot of gallery opportunities. Do you have any advice for artists that are looking to participate in a gallery?
Oh my gosh, I don't know. It's not an easy thing. I saw this gallery, the local one that I'm at.
Mhm.
They usually only take international artists,
Mhm.
and I kind of targeted them. and um, and the gentleman that owns it was very kind to talk to me about my art, not even thinking about wanting to take me, but just kind of
Mhm.
advise me. And then when I told him where I was going with this, he's like,
Uh-huh.
"Oh, I want to see it." So that's kind of an unusual thing. The one
Mhm.
in Maine that closed up, and what I'm doing here, I'll jump in.
Mhm.
I'm doing a warm, cool push. So I've got the aqua blue, which would be like a phthalo blue, and then this is a more towards like an ultramarine blue. So,
Oh, wonderful.
um, and so how did he find me? He found me online.
Mhm.
He saw me in a plein air event,
Wonderful.
and he started following me for a while
Mhm.
until finally he said, I want your work.
I love it.
So that's how that happened. I know a lot of galleries you can just go onto their website, and a lot of them have submission forms on there, and you can fill those out and see what happens. It's another way of doing it.
So there's
Now,
a question in the chat
yeah.
about what surface you're working on. Like what's
Oh,
your base there?
yeah, this is, let me pull a smaller one down off my shelf. This is a cradled board, wooden surface. I
Mhm.
like the wooden surface best. When I went to the 72 by 36, I had to go to a canvas
Mhm.
because this board would be so heavy and so expensive. So yeah, it's wood board, and I put texture on it, and that's one of the things that I will speak about at Acrylic Live, is how to and what product to use to get texture. So if you were to
Okay.
feel this, you'd feel a lot of texture on there already, which to me enhances the process of this.
Wonderful. So
Um,
make sure that you all
yeah.
sign up for Art School Live so you get the full background on all of these media and special techniques that Kathleen Denis is teaching us about today.
That's right.
You see what I did there?
Very
Yeah.
good, very good. Okay, I want to make sure I've got this shadow in here. So I'm going back in uh, with this dark marker. I'm just, if you notice, what I'm really doing is I'm defining my lights and shadows.
Mm. I can't get over how that particular hue of yellow just feels like that Florida sunshine you were talking about.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it? Makes me want to go to the beach.
Like you live at the beach, isn't it right there? Making
It
all of
is.
us
It's a,
dealing
a
with snow and
block
ice.
away.
Yes.
And all
I
I
love
do is paint it. I never get to go there anymore, but
it.
I need to change that.
Indeed.
Okay. So I'm ready to start applying paint. And how much time do we have
We
that I
have
have
about
on this?
15 minutes.
That's all? Okay.
Sorry.
Let's see. I'll jump in first with the darks. I'm going
I
to do a grade down.
I
Um,
was cheating you a little bit. We have closer to 20 minutes.
oh my goodness. Thank
You
you.
get the free 5 minutes. Make you panic first and then give you the extra minute back.
Okay,
I
so I'm
always laugh
thinking
at that.
value.
Mhm.
Um, and at Acrylic Live, I also talk about all the brushes that I use and love and recommend. Oh,
Excellent. Sorry, one more question about your surface. So Cindy's in the chat is asking, is it a cradled canvas? Is that correct? Is that what you would
yeah,
call?
that was a cradled canvas. Yeah, but
Okay.
any kind of wood. I mean, you can even take um, like plywood, not plywood. What is it? Birchwood,
Mm.
and at Home Depot, if you're really nice sometimes to them, they'll give them a tip. They'll cut it down for you.
Oh, that's a neat trick to
Hmm.
know.
Yeah, and then just gesso it.
Nice.
Um,
And I assume you're using acrylic-based gesso?
yes. Oh, yeah. You don't want to use oil-based. Yeah. In fact, you cannot paint this on acrylic. Sorry, it's hard to talk and uh, paint at the same time. You can't paint on acrylic on top of oil
Mhm.
primed canvases. Okay, leave.
Despite my trying to.
Yeah, yeah. You don't want the paint to peel
Yeah,
off. That would not be good, especially if you sold it.
yes.
So I'm putting a little medium in here, which is going to create a little bit of a transparency. So if I put a lot of medium, it would be, you can see through it completely like that. And it becomes more like a glaze. And then
Mhm.
I can just go thicker like I did here. And one of the things I love to do is then scratch into it. So what's fun with this too, and I forgot to do it, is to actually write words in there. So I'm going to use the orange marker because I want some orange to pop up over here. Now these markers, you can go over wet paint, but if you use any kind of a marker such as this,
Mhm.
the Posca, or some of my other favorites are these,
Mhm.
Bedham. If you use those over top of wet paint, forget it. You'll have to throw your marker away. So,
Oh, no.
um, yeah. So I like to just write in here. I'm writing love, joy, and peace.
Oh.
Okay, those marks are going to show through. And on my large paintings where I can do this, I like
Mhm.
to write inspirational verses. It might be something in a song that I just heard. I'm like, oh, I got to write that in there.
Oh,
I
I
mean,
love
I'm
it, these
telling you,
little secret messages you have.
I'm telling you, Indy, I'm just having fun doing this. Like before, I would be here like, okay, I have to get this in and that in, and but the reason I can do this is because of those fundamentals. Okay, so
Mhm.
you can't skip that. And I love to scratch, whether it's on the back of my brush or whatever. So um
You're a very tactile painter, the scratching, the layers, like, the texture base, like, I just wanna, like, go, like, rub my hands over your painting and see.
Okay, let me get some of the shutter in and grab. It helps to be organized with these various tools so that you know what you're going to grab, because the acrylic dries so fast that that's the advantage to acrylics, but it's also the downside is that
Mm.
it dries really fast. So it's like, it's like, oh, I can't go back into that. But what's
Mhm.
so cool is that you can go over it.
Yeah.
It dries, well, then you didn't like that, well, then go back over it. I love it.
Well, it's interesting
And
how the
yeah.
limitations of our supplies can affect how we paint sometimes too, right? Like, you might be making
Mhm.
different decisions when you're laying down acrylic than you would with oil because of how long it takes to dry.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So
I got
this
into
is
some
a
trouble. I got into some
yeah.
trouble on a painting I was working on recently because when I teach my students in the online class, I teach with titanium white, but my personal preference is lead white, but they dry at very different rates. And I
Mm.
scheduled this demo, but the titanium white from the previous day hadn't been dry yet, and so I had to cancel it.
Oh no.
And that was the lesson in, okay, pay attention to, even
Yeah, which
within
one to
oil
use?
paint, the pigments dry
Yeah,
differently.
absolutely.
Mm.
Yeah. And if you make the mistake of letting acrylics dry in your brush, you can pretty much
Oh.
kiss that brush goodbye.
Yes, yes.
So let me get some of the lights on there so that y'all can see that. I just took a little lemon yellow and some yellow ochre. And you notice I'm not painting like this, right? Okay. I
You are
teach my
not fussy.
students, yeah, I teach my students to hold their brushes back here, sometimes even with just 3 fingers. Um,
Whoa.
and when I started painting this way, I put like a barrel trash can in front of me so that I couldn't cross over and get there.
Oh.
But I'm really tall, and
Uh-huh.
so what I would notice is that my legs would start to straddle the canvas because I was so used to being up on top of it. Um,
Oh, that's
so
funny.
yeah, so so you
But
have
what
to
great advice to, like, arrange your studio in a way that will help you learn new things. In your case, you put
yeah,
a trash can between you and your canvas so
yeah,
that you couldn't get up.
exactly.
I love that. Yeah.
And
Well, it
I
makes you
take one of these tables now,
mhm.
and I mean, I'm used to painting back now, but I would take one of these tables that I can just set right in front of here, and it would come out about probably 3 feet, and then I would have to stay behind that line.
Oh, I like it.
Yeah.
Well, that's a really interesting thought experiment too. Like, how is your studio set up, and is it helping you with your painting goals or hurting you with your painting goals, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I, you know, I've pretty much been the kind of person that you just have to adapt to what you have, whether
Mhm.
it's a medium, did you forgot your medium, when I see medium, it could be oils, uh, acrylics or watercolors, but when I say mediums too, did I forget to bring that? So now what do I do? You have to adapt and go with what you have. And so, if I have a really, and I say really small studio, like I can almost touch arm to arm, and then it's twice as long as that.
But you're
So
very tall, so your arms are very long, right?
that's true. Uh, but so I've learned to adapt to it, stay very organized. I have these tables that are hydraulic and they go up and down so I can move them around as I need to. Um, and, just do what you have to do. I would love to go rent a studio and maybe that'll happen at some point. I don't know. But,
Well, with all these
anyways,
galleries that you have going on, you might need more
I
space just
might need to. Yeah.
to
Yeah. That would be nice. We'll see. Okay, so here, I want some of that undercolor to show through, and I'm thinking about the light on that pillow. And you can see my original reference. There is no pillow there,
I
right?
was just about to ask you. I
Yep,
was like,
I
"What pillow?"
added it, and I've painted this before. This was in oils. I've painted it probably 3 or 4 times. I love the Abacos in the Bahamas, and that's what this scene is from. And I
Okay.
painted my little Barney in the
Oh,
chair there. This was a challenge that I did. I painted it only with a chip brush, the
really?
entire painting. Yeah,
So you are
and
you were just a very adventurous, person. You're ready to, put it all out there, fearlessly. You're fearless.
maybe so. When I was young and in college, many, many, many years ago, I remember another student saying that, "Wow, you're not afraid of this paint, are you?" Just
Uh,
go for it.
yeah.
What do you have to lose?
It does seem to be a common quality of the guests that we have on this show on Art School Live that there's one day that one of the guests made 2 paintings in the 1 hour, and I'm like, "Are you crazy?" I was having a heart
Oh my
attack the whole
goodness.
time.
Wow, wow,
But,
wow.
when we put ourselves out there and try new things, we learn new things.
Yeah, yeah. All right, let me get some of this in. I want to get some of the main things in, and then you'll see this in the finished painting that I'll show you at the end. So at least you can see where I'm going with all of this craziness and
So
give you an idea.
there's a question in the chat, and I think I
Yeah.
understand, but please clarify for me. So, there's a question, did you use the same process on your oil version that you're using here or not? Like,
No, if I did this in oils, I'd have nothing but mush.
yeah.
Um, and so I was, using oils over top. Like I would get to as far as like, okay, I am as far as I feel like I've achieved what I wanted to in oils. Okay, so watch this. This is cool.
What?
Yeah,
That's fun.
yeah, fun. That's right. Let's have fun. Um, I would get to as far as I could with the acrylics, and then go. I'm not getting what I want. I need to get my oils out, and I do some oils over top of it.
Mm.
And but I'm finding now I've learned to work with the acrylics that I don't have to do that.
So there's a question about your box of acrylic paint. How do you keep your paint wet in that box or usable in that box?
Um, I give it a little squirt with distilled water. Make sure it's distilled. Um, I just spritz it a little like that, and pretty much stays good. I was in such a hurry at my paint out the other day to get everything turned in that I left the lid off of it, and when I came back to my studio, all of those paints were gone.
Oh no.
So yeah, so but other than that, it stays really well.
Mm.
Go. Okay. So this is like probably the third stage, I would say. Like the first one is just connecting and loosening up, and then the markers, then start putting some of this paint in. And then after that, um, I just refine it just like you would, you know, a traditional painting. I was traditionally trained. I studied since I was 4 years old. I had a really strict teacher. He was a fashion designer or fashion illustrator at Jordan Marsh. I don't know if anybody remembers Jordan Marsh department stores. Um, and so at 4 years old, he would show me a photograph and then take it away and make me paint the scene.
Oh,
And it was, yeah, it was figures. And
mhm.
so, um, again, learning all of that has allowed me to let loose and be able to just enjoy this.
Yeah, so that really was, kind of working a combination from imagination and from life. Like if you had a reference and then it was taken away. Can you clarify
Yeah.
for us why distilled water instead of regular water on
Oh,
your
sure. Yeah. If regular water has a tendency to create mold in it, and
Ah,
none of us want mold.
mm.
So the distilled water won't allow that to happen. And I've done that with my gouache box as well, and I have had no mold.
Oh, well,
So,
that's great
mhm.
advice for those of us who just
And
like mold.
yeah, no, exactly. And some of those paints have sat there for months.
Yeah. I remember
Yeah.
my background, I'm a licensed art teacher, and I remember showing up, to
Ah,
my very first classroom, and they hadn't had an art teacher in a decade or so, and they're like, "Oh, we have
oh,
plenty of paint. You don't need to worry about ordering supplies." And it was tempera paint, and boy, when I opened that paint, it was just
gross.
oh,
Yeah.
it was
Oh, I
so
bet.
bad.
Yeah. Okay, let me get the some of the lights on the chair. And of course, all of this would be detailed. So what you're seeing is pretty much maybe close to middle stage.
Which medium do you use that makes the paint more transparent?
Oh, there's no numerous ones. You can, you know, read the bottles usually tell or the manufacturers. My go-to is this satin glazing liquid by Golden. It slows down the drying a little bit, and it also um, takes down the viscosity, so it thins it out a little bit. But there are just numerous ones, and some of them, and again, this is what I talk about at Planner South. I mean, at not Planner South, at
Acrylic live.
Acrylic Live, getting them all mixed up.
Yeah.
Is that there's various ones will do multiple jobs. So You don't need them all. You need what is going to work for you. I have several. Um, and there's some that towards the end of my painting, love, 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 because I'll pull them out and do nice, thick, chunky brush strokes, just like you would in oil.
Yes. And your painting literally loves you because you wrote love into the painting.
There you go.
You know what? Maybe that's a great way to start a painting is like decide that your painting is going to have those feelings for you before
Yeah,
you
yeah,
start.
yeah. This is what this one's about. Yep.
Yeah, I love it.
Oh, true. Finger painting, that's a part of it.
There is nothing off limits with you.
That's right.
There's a
I
lot of
actually,
oh, sorry. There's a lot of joy in the chat, watching you paint and appreciating,
oh,
your freedom and your love of painting.
oh, good. Yeah, I do love painting.
So are your boxes just like those thread boxes that you get at a craft store, or is it
Um,
special for acrylic paint?
this particular one that I'm using is from Michael's, and it's important that you get one that the dividers don't move.
Ah,
This one has a divider that one comes out right there, and then I actually use that for all my white because I like more white than the other colors.
mm.
Um, and well, it's not a color, right?
Somebody's been watching me.
That's right. But none of the other dividers move, so you don't want the paint to sleep underneath. So,
Okay.
okay.
And again, everybody, today our guest is Kathleen Denis. You can follow her on social media at Kathleen_Denis_art. And she will be one of the amazing presenters at Acrylic Live. So if you haven't signed up for that, make sure to do so. You won't want to miss her going on a deep dive into all the acrylic media, all those crazy things that you see in her studio right now. She's going to be talking about. So you won't want to miss it.
So, I'll pull out a marker again here and there, just to clarify where I'm going. And again, all these marks are going to show through. And I say like your arm does that. If I
Mhm.
do this, it's kind of rigid. But if I do that, I'm getting an automatic arch to my arm. So I
So you're
can,
using the natural movement of human mechanicals to assist you.
yeah, absolutely. Yep. And again, I like to feel everything going around. Just that energy and that life that's in things. You know, things are not usually very static. I mean, even if a chair is sitting there, it's going to get moved eventually. The lines have movement to them. How much
We
time do I
have
have
just a
left?
couple minutes left. Just a couple
Okay,
minutes.
let me go ahead and try to get a little bit of the light
I am all
on
astonishment.
the.
We started with a really dark canvas and now we have pure sunshine on the canvas.
Oh yeah.
It's really incredible how you've layered this up. JP in the chat is saying, I need to have a stern talk with my canvases before I get started.
Oh, let me tell you, I do that. I actually, uh, I do. But it's just such a great way to connect instead of being afraid, like, oh, where do I start? What do I put down? But I cannot emphasize to you enough to learn the fundamentals. So here I'm using another, this is called spatcher. And love painting with those.
Just to review what we've seen Kathleen do today, she
Uh-huh.
started with a canvas, which she showed us a little time lapse of her preparing it with lots of layers and textures. And then she worked with paint markers in the beginning. She used some words as well. And then she's been layering up, some with thinning with media so that it's slightly transparent. So what comes from underneath can be seen through. And now she's working on tightening up the painting. So for those of you just joining us, that's where we are. Yeah, definitely look at
I,
the time lapse in the beginning, Nancy, of how she prepped this canvas. It's astonishing. It's really wonderful to see.
again, capturing the light. And you know, you can create form like this as well. Um, so here I'll show you a little bit of form to this. Let me take, so this is going to go a little bit darker. Oops, too dark. You know, I'm used to with oil paints. If I was teaching a class in oil, I would mix all of my colors with the various values and you know, color families. Well, I can't do that with the acrylics. I mean, I could if I did like open acrylics, but I don't want to do open acrylics because I want it to dry fast.
Mm.
So um so anyways, I have to like go really quick, and it's part of what gives me that uh you know, just that energy is the fact that I am going quick. And you know,
Sure.
coming outside the lines, like, you know, be a kid. What would a kid do? They just you know, and you look at some kids pictures and you go, ooh, but you know what? Look at it with a different eye. They're really not ooh, they're very creative.
And joyful and
Yeah,
stem
yeah,
from the delight of creating.
exactly. And sometimes the
Okay, I am
faster
afraid we need to wrap up here. So any
do you,
last brush strokes? It's time.
oh, any last brushstrokes?
Um,
Oh,
no
well, let me
pressure, no pressure.
let me just show you some darks with this. So if I want to put some darks in here, I could go in like that. And again, getting the unusual, the unexpected, and you never know what is going to pop through and be there in the end. And that's what's so exciting to me. But do you want me to show you the finished painting now?
Yes, yes, please. We'd love to
Okay,
see you painting.
okay. So
Oh, how wonderful.
there it is. You
Voila. And
can,
it just seeing you build up from what you started with and ending there, that's really
yeah.
incredible.
Here, I'll bring it close so you can see all the texture in there. And then when you go far away, it looks like a normal painting. But when you get up close, you're like, oh my gosh, what is all that stuff in there?
It's
So,
incredible, all those
yeah.
layers that you managed to get in there. Thank you so much. It's been wonderful having you today, Kathleen. Again, make
Oh,
sure to
thank
follow
you.
Kathleen on social media at Kathleen_Denis_art. And don't miss her at Art School Live as an instructor coming up very soon.
Thank you,
Thank
Mandy. Thank you,
thank you
everybody,
so
for
much.
being here. Bye.
Okay, so we do have a gift for you. So you can download the free video, 97 Incredible Art Secrets. Go to 97artsecrets.com/ASL. And don't forget to sign up for Acrylic Live. If you want to see Kathleen again, which I'm sure I know I do, there's only a couple of weeks left. So March 26th to 28th, 2025, with Essential Techniques Day on March 25th. 4 days of premium instruction in acrylic painting. And you can sign up at acryliclive.com/ASL. And of course, if you haven't signed up for the Plein Air Convention and Expo yet, do it. Mary Garish and many other great instructors, we had her on just the other day, are going to be attending this year. And PACE is on May 19th through 25th. You don't want to miss it. Sign up at pleinairconvention.com/ASL. Everyone, please don't forget to subscribe to this channel at Art School Live on YouTube and at Eric Rhodes on Instagram. Make sure to give us a little like if you enjoy this free content we bring you every day at noon. And again, my name is Mandy Tice. I am substituting for Eric Rhodes today, and you can learn more about me at schoolofatelierarts.com or follow me on social media at Mandy Fine Artist. Thanks, everyone, and I look forward to seeing you tomorrow.